I'd like to welcome everybody to the Equally Heard interview series. I'm Mark Fleming with Equally Fit, and I am here today with Michelle. Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing good. How about you introduce yourself to everybody?
All right, so if you don't know me already, my name's Michelle Vinokurov. I work as a paraprofessional for elementary school students living with autism. I've performed keynote speeches for special education organizations and various special education parent advisory groups all over New Jersey. I've also am a blogger for my own blog series website called The World of Autism. And yeah, that's pretty much to sum that up.
Wow, that's a lot. So what is it like being a paraprofessional having autism?
So, um, I'm going to be honest that there are times that could be a little bit overwhelming in terms of like how agreeing with what the teachers are doing and what other paraprofessionals do, how they approach with the children in terms of like with intervention and everything. Because I work in a public school district and I work in a self-contained classroom that's specifically just with students with autism. So, and we use ABA therapy. So like there are some things that like I've seen that teachers don't like. I feel like that they do things that I don't necessarily agree about, but you still the important thing that I want to point out is about with communication between with teachers and educators and therapists and everything that I've gone to work with. And I know in today with everything that's been going on, I've had to go virtually with my class and everything because since have been closed since March. So that's been an interesting experience. I've gone to talk with the parents of my students and all that. And the important thing I want to say, two important things is collaboration and communication, because without those two things, the success of students wouldn't exist.
Yeah, it must be tough. How does that work out with our current situation being a paraprofessional? Like, what exactly do you do virtually that I guess would be different than in the classroom?
So it's not too much different, but in ways like I know I've still had to collect as a part of with implementing ABA therapy in the classroom. We've had to collect data still, just like we would in the classroom, continue to support the teacher and the students and putting their needs first. The difference with online is that the parents are there. So it's the parents are basically like the teachers too. They're supporting their own child just as much as we do, like with teaching them everyday things. Like we try to keep the important thing that even though it's online too, which I want to bring this up for anybody that's providing therapy for their child online or even through school, is that to keep routine as much as possible, because that way the child knows is that they still are in school, except that they're just learning from home. Like they need a space where that they know that it's school time, that they're going to be learning now. So that's an important thing that to establish for everybody. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What you just say?
Keep going. Keep going.
um, Another thing would be that like I think one of the biggest things with the difference as a paraprofessional in the classroom, we don't get to talk to the families too much outside of the classroom. It's more of the teacher that's the one that like talks about like the student's day, their whatever behaviors occurred and stuff in the school day, how their learning's going. But now as a paraprofessional, like online, I feel like the role's gone beyond what we usually do in the classroom. So in ways it's benefits, and in some ways, I it's definitely more of, personally for me, it's more of my like stepping beyond my comfort zone. So it was interesting. It was interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Working with my clients, structure during this time is definitely a big thing, because obviously with exercise, it can help reduce that stress as well. So kind of switching over, you were talking about being a keynote speaker and having a blog. So as an advocate, what is your goal for your advocacy?
So my goal is to be able to my main goal is to help the community. What are ways that I could help everybody in my own ways contributing? So like my blog series website, I have been putting out personal experiences of what it's like living with autism. I've also given other people chances to be featured on my website so they can share their story. So that way everybody gets to be heard in their own ways. And I also have perspectives from the professional point of view that I've shared because of being a paraprofessional in the classroom. So I provide like the experiences of like what to do during like an IEP meeting as for both personal and professional, and ways to like work with students, like such as putting the students' needs first. And also that I've done interviews. I've started doing not too long ago with interviews of professionals who work with children living with autism, and also with interviews with other individuals living with autism too. So that way we keep helping each other and in our own ways.
Yeah, that's big. We got to stick together as a community. What are some of your goals for your life now that you're a professional and working and everything?
I think it's just to honestly, like, I really love what I do so much. Like, it's just so rewarding because when I go back to like my younger days and stuff, like, I've shared it on the webinar series Asking Autistic, which I've shared in the beginning, where like what was like for me younger, like people don't think about that with me today, where like people can't believe like from what I was like being completely nonverbal till I was 6 years old and stuff, and with like lacking eye contact and like just need more support, unlike today where I've been doing so much on my own, like how I've gotten my paraprofessional job and stuff. That was completely on my own. Like I applied like over 30 jobs,
Right.
30 jobs just to get to for that. So, hard work, a lot of hard work. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it was really hard for me to find jobs and whatnot, even out of college and everything. And it's one of the reasons why I started my own gym, my own business, is that there was a stigma, A, for the fact that I wasn't like the fittest person, and B, autism and a very social job, right? I have to communicate all the time. So those things don't really, people don't think they mix. And so unfortunately, I had to create my own job. Talking about kind of physical education now, what was your physical education experience like?
okay, so for me with phys ed, in my school years, the way that the teachers approach it, especially in high school, I what I didn't like, they made us do things that like that were kind of like forced on, unlike giving us so much as choices of what to do. So like I didn't really like phys ed when I was in school. I actually liked it doing it outside, so I actually exercise in my own time, and because I found like interest in stuff when it comes to exercising, like weight training and like with dancing and walking and stuff. So I kind of like found it on my own, and at the same time, my mom helped me out a lot with that.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, physical education when I was growing up was a lot of we're just going to play this game or do this or that, and
Mm-hmm.
there aren't many choices or options. And a lot of times it was, hey, here's a soccer ball, go play soccer, and if you didn't like soccer, you just didn't play. You weren't active that day, which needs to change, obviously. We need to kind of get back to I believe, more centralized kind of exercise stuff instead of sports, but that's my viewpoint. You said you're physically active now. Did you play any sports growing up?
Okay, so I actually have gone through experiences with sports. So when I was finally like, it actually started at 6 years old. So when I was finally like, I said my first word and everything, and like I was progressing, like at that age, I think that was the age where I was like starting to progress a lot more quickly than expected. So it was, that year was just a huge milestone for me. So my mom was like, that was the time to start pushing me into like, would try to get me engaged in like sports, for example. So we tried soccer. My mom signed me up for a soccer through a special education organization in my town called Scope. And my older sister was a buddy with me. So it's like a buddy program. And so we did soccer. That did not last long because I was pretty much like not engaged in it really. So like my mom knew it wasn't for me, that sport. So we tried, a year later, we tried gymnastics, and I ended up loving it so much. And I knew personally because I loved doing like cartwheels and like the balance beam and everything. And I did that with my brother, my younger brother. So that was fun. And then what really got me the most interested is I did Taekwondo. So I did that when I was 8, and I did that was my longest sport, was Taekwondo. I did that for 5 years, and I did get my black belt, so I am a first degree black belt. Yeah, I got my black belt when I was 10. So yeah, me and my older sister both got our black belts the same day. So that was an awesome day. And that I used to compete in like tournaments and everything, which I was like a little bit shy about that at first, but I ended up doing really well. I got so into it. So that was my favorite sport. I did a little bit of tennis. I enjoyed that too. I did enjoy tennis as well. So.
Oh, awesome. Active growing up, which is great. I only got a white belt in karate. I didn't do very well. Talking about like strengths with karate and whatnot, what would you say is your biggest strength, kind of characteristic wise?
For me, would be perseverance. That was a thing that I was in the leadership class in my Taekwondo school. So one of the things for me growing up was perseverance. I didn't give up even through like the hardest obstacles that have gone my way over the years, like such as with getting a job as a paraprofessional would be an example. I kept pushing, even though I had interviews that I've gotten rejected from. I didn't give up. I still kept applying and stuff. So I think that from my years of Taekwondo really like motivated me for later on, and it helped grow about with perseverance. So that would be my biggest strength.
I think that's a lot of people with disabilities, because we all have to kind of overcome our own obstacles. I know just operating your own business, you got numerous obstacles every day, but I could go on and on. Let's go into what advice would you have for others with autism?
My advice, one of the things is that, like, as we kept talking about, just don't give up whenever something like brings you down. Just know that like there's a reason why, like there's a reason, and it's all about redirection. It's only going to redirect you to something better. So don't give up on what you want to accomplish in your life and stuff, and keep daring the dream, as I referenced to my first keynote speech conference I've done.
That's great. A lot of individuals growing up, they are kind of pigeonholed and don't think that they can accomplish certain things. And I know I was very fortunate that I was kind of out of the special ed realm growing up, and that kind of led me to be able to probably accomplish a whole lot more than I did. What advice would you have for parents with children with disabilities in general?
My advice for parents is just, be loving, supportive, and patient, because you'd be surprised of how much your child can surprise you in terms of progress in their learning in life. Everybody's lifelong learners. That's the key thing that I would say in as being in the education field as a paraprofessional, everybody's lifelong learners. We're all going to learn something new, and there's going to be easy days, there's going to be hard days, but it's about just getting through them. And there's always celebrate those small victories and everything.
That's awesome. And then lastly, what advice would you have for non-disabled paraprofessionals that may be working with special populations that they may need to know to help better their career?
Well, it's important to get training. Like I have seen where there's people that need more education about with autism. I think that's an important thing that we need to continue spreading, because autism is a spectrum. There is so much, it's different in everybody. So, and it's I definitely would say complex, because it is different in everybody. So we need to continue with training, and also that to be patient, give clear instructions to a student that's living with autism, because if you're telling them something that is not clear to them, they're going to end up having a temper tantrum, as I've seen that before personally. So definitely give clear instructions when you're teaching to a child living with autism. Be patient with them. There's going to be days where it's up and down, but don't give up on them. There's always going to be progress that is made every day.
Awesome. Great stuff. And then to finish off, do you have anything else you want to add that maybe we didn't cover, or that just something that you hold close to you that you just always like to talk about in an interview or at one of your speeches? Anything like that?
I just want to keep telling the people that, it's so important to help others, because you don't know what everybody is going through and stuff. So as one of the big things, don't judge a book by its cover. There's something inside of us that we all have gone through. So definitely don't judge a book by its cover. And also that if you would like to follow me online on my professional accounts, I am known as Exceptional Shell. That's my professional name. And you could also look up at Self Advocate MV.
Cool. Well, it was great having you as the first episode of Equally Heard. And like I said, it was great. It was great to hear from you and hear kind of your opinions on things and your professional advice in the area of paraprofessionals. So I'd like to thank you, and I wish you the best luck moving forward. And that's it.
Thank you.
That's